All right, today we're headed to Nepal, a country of incredible mountains and, well, equally incredible challenges. And we're really digging into one big question. Can technology actually revolutionize education for its children? Let's take a look at the new roads and new dreams of e-learning.
Just listen to this. This one sentence comes from a report about a community in Dhaka. Think about that for a second. A 2-hour walk, each way, every single day, just for the chance to be in a classroom. That tells you everything you need to know about how high the stakes are.
So that brings us to the core of what we're talking about today. For a student making that trek, could something as simple as a smartphone, a device that fits right in their pocket, be the one thing that unlocks a totally different future for them? Let's find out.
Okay, so before we can even talk about solutions, we've got to get real about the scale of the problem. We need to understand the fundamental challenges that schools and students are up against all across Nepal. And look, this isn't some isolated story from one village. This is the reality for so many. These long walks are common, and so are these multi-grade classrooms, where you have one teacher trying to juggle the needs of 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, all at the same time. This is our starting point. So everyone knew things needed to change, but, progress was kind of slow. And then, bam, something happened that forced the entire country into this massive digital experiment, basically overnight. The change was just staggering. Before 2020, e-learning was this tiny, niche idea. Then suddenly, it was a necessity. You had parents who'd maybe never even sent an email before trying to get their kids onto Zoom calls, and platforms like Google Classroom and Midas eClass became household names. And you know what? All that chaos, all that scrambling to adapt, it proved one huge thing to the whole country. E-learning wasn't just some fantasy for other places. It was actually possible, right there, in Nepal. So once people realized, hey, we can actually do this, it opened up this incredible vision for what education in Nepal could be. So let's dive into that promise, because it's pretty exciting. So what are the big wins here? Well, the sources point to 5 huge potential game changers. Getting access to great teachers no matter where you live. Having flexible hours. Lowering costs. Creating real opportunities for girls, and letting kids learn at their own pace. Each one tackles a core problem we just talked about. Think about this first one for a second. It's maybe the most powerful idea of all. A fantastic teacher in the capital city of Kathmandu can now teach thousands of kids in the most remote villages imaginable. Suddenly, all those physical barriers, they just kind of disappear. It completely democratizes good teaching. And this isn't just about academics. This gets right into the social fabric of the country. For so many girls, traveling really long, often unsafe distances to school just isn't an option. But digital access at home or in a local hub, that could be a total game changer for educational equality.
Okay, so the promise is huge, right? But we all know the dream and the day-to-day reality can be two very different things. So it's time for a little reality check, because the path to a digital Nepal is definitely not a smooth one.
And this slide pretty much says it all. The promise? Hey, you can access the best lessons from anywhere in the world. The reality? The internet cuts out the second it starts to rain. That big, beautiful vision just smacks right into a very frustrating wall. Yeah, the sources lay out 5 major roadblocks. You've got that spotty internet, not enough devices to go around, constant power cuts, low digital literacy for both students and teachers, and the fact that a lot of online content is only in English. Let's really zoom in on the 2 biggest showstoppers: connectivity and just getting a device into kids' hands. I love this quote because it just nails the internet problem so perfectly. Even in cities, when rain comes, internet dies faster than motivation on Mondays. That tells you this isn't just a rural problem, Even in the cities, the connection can be so fragile, which makes trying to hold a regular online class, well, a huge headache. And then you have the device problem. Having a signal doesn't help much if you don't have a screen to look at. And for a lot of families, there's just one smartphone. And guess what? It usually belongs to the father, and he takes it to work with him every day. So the kids are just stuck with no way to log in. Just look at this number. One device for 3 or even 4 kids in a family. How do you even begin to schedule that? Okay, you get the phone from 9 to 10, and you get it from 10 to 11. It becomes a logistical nightmare. But here's the thing. If you know anything about the Nepali people, you know they are incredibly resilient and resourceful. The challenges are huge, no doubt,
But people aren't just sitting back and waiting. Let's look at some of the amazing and creative ways they're tackling these problems.
And this is exactly what I'm talking about. The solution doesn't always have to be some fancy, expensive system. Get this, a teacher in the MyAgD district started recording his science lessons on TikTok. And they went viral, reaching thousands of students way beyond his own classroom. How cool is that? And it's not just individual ingenuity, it's about community spirit. In Gorka, they looked at the device shortage problem and said, okay, let's solve this together. They got one projector, set it up in a community hall, and suddenly 60 kids could attend a class at the same time. That's just the power of people coming together.
So these local stories are incredible, right? But to make this work for the whole country, you need a bigger national strategy. And the source material actually lays out a really clear 6-step roadmap. It's about combining everything, building out the infrastructure, making data affordable, creating local content in Nepali, training teachers, and getting public and private groups to work together.
And that all leads us back to the biggest dream of all. This isn't just about kids learning basic reading and writing anymore. The real question is, can this new digital road lead to a future where a child in Jumla, one of the most remote districts of Nepal, can learn how to code? Can they have the same shot as any kid anywhere else in the world?
Look, the path ahead is long, and the challenges we've talked about are very, very real. But something has definitely started. From tiny villages to the halls of government, a new journey is underway. It's one built on creativity, community, and this powerful belief that every single kid deserves a chance. And for the future of Nepal's children, that really is the dream.